you really wear a lot of makeup. Like, I'm not saying anything bad, like it looks good, but like, I just kind of wonder what you look like without it. Naturally pretty girls, we barely have to wear makeup. That's why mine is like always such a light glam, because like I'm naturally pretty. I don't need it. Not saying you're ugly. Plus, you know, men don't like girls that wear a lot of makeup.
You know what a pick-me girl is?
I don't know. Tell
I just learned. Pick-me girl is someone who is like sort of self-consciously quirky as a way of differentiating themselves from the masses, so that people are like, ooh, she's interesting.
Were you familiar with this term, Summer?
I wasn't, but
No.
I know those girls.
That's
I know
me.
a lot of the, oh, okay.
And so you're the in this scenario, you're the pick-me girl.
Yeah, I'm the pick-me girl. I'm gonna feign a kind of casual nonchalance while underneath I'm desperate for your approval and the approval of everybody here.
Let's get one thing straight. If you say things like, I'm not like other girls, I don't use makeup, it's giving immediately pick me energy. At least that's what the internet thinks. If you're super career focused or you have a business, it's giving girl boss energy. There's so many labels and boxes online right now that the internet expects you to kind of fit into. So for this video, I'm going to be focusing on 3 of the most popular boxes: the pick me girl, the girl boss, and the trad wife. And I want to talk about why these boxes exist, why women stay in them, and why we are forced to be in them. Hi, my name is Susan. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, how's it going? Let's talk about why these boxes exist. It is not news that online spaces are often unsafe. There's a lot of harassment, a lot of shaming and stigma. So it feels like a lot of women may feel pressure to present themselves in a safe and socially acceptable box so that it reduces the risk of them getting harassed. If you go to TikTok and Instagram, you see someone share an opinion and they're literally being harassed online.
So the other day I got a death threat on Facebook. That was fun. I reported it to Facebook, obviously for violence, because this guy was clearly communicating threats on my own post, unprovoked. For reference, I posted a picture of me with my weight loss, and I was like, yeah, I lost 47 pounds. I'm only 3 pounds away from 50 pounds. And this guy, unprovoked, commented on my shit and was like, only 75 more pounds to go. And I responded to him and I was like, yeah, of course, weirdos like you would got some bullshit to say. So then he responded with a literal death threat. So I reported it to Facebook for violence. I got a response to the report today from Facebook saying we didn't remove the comment. There was no violations found.
There are so many very negative, dangerous comments in their comment sections. Some even go as far as sending death threats if someone is saying something that they don't agree with. There's a research that shows that 21% of women aged 18 to 29 actually report sexual harassment online versus 9% of men. 53% of those people actually report receiving unsolicited explicit images. Like, what? Another thing is social media is known to drastically increase a feeling of insecurity, comparison, anxiety, isolation. Sometimes you're scrolling and seeing people showing like the best part of their lives online, and it can bring up a feeling of insecurity, feeling like you have not achieved much. And so sometimes having these labels and boxes can be a coping mechanism for a lot of people to feel that sense of belonging, that sense of identity with other people. The third thing I think is a major reason for these boxes and these labels is that social media rewards extremes. When there are like clear archetypes, when you have this person that is known for something, the same way this girl, Nara Smith, blew up, she was doing something unconventional, doing something that a lot of people did not agree with but liked to watch. And it is very easy for those kind of personalities to kind of stand out online. So that's why some people find themselves falling into these boxes, because once they get into that persona that appeals to a certain audience, then they don't see any need to change it because it's giving them the attention that they need. People that are in gray areas might not get as much attention as people that are clearly operating in extremes. A lot of people in these boxes don't even agree with everything those labels stand for. They just pick a side because the internet makes it seem like you have to identify with something to be accepted. So women end up choosing the label that is closest to how they feel, or sometimes the one that simply opposes what they dislike. Let's talk about the pick me box.
I know I'm a woman, but sometimes I feel like other women don't get it. Like, they don't really know how to be a girl's man. And you guys know me. You guys invite me to play video games with you, like GTA, and we go watch football games together. And you guys know that I am a girl's man. I'm literally a girl's man. And some women don't know that you literally have to be a girl's man to find a man.
Now, the classic definition, or at least the internet's definition of a pick-me girl, is the girl who says things like, I'm not like other girls, I don't do drama, girls do too much, me, I'm simple, I don't wear makeup like other girls, I'm naturally beautiful. Let's not mix this up, let's not get this wrong. Using makeup or not using makeup doesn't make you a pick-me. The issue is when someone uses that natural claim to kind of shame other women and elevate themselves, most especially in front of men. Pick-me behavior also shows up in bigger topics. Yes, we're going to get into it. Like when someone loudly says or declares that they are not a feminist.
Not a feminist. I don't need to be a feminist. There's nothing that they're fighting for that I agree with anymore.
Yeah.
It seems overprivileged. It seems bratty.
Even though the dictionary definition of feminism is just the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes, you still find people wanting to have that social acceptance, and the first thing they say is, oh, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I don't believe in, the things that they stand for. And the clear definition of feminism is the reason why a lot of people even have the platforms that they have. It was necessary for people to actually stand up and have this advocacy for women. Like there was literally a time women could not vote, women could not have their own passport. They could not own property if they were married, believe it or not. They couldn't wear pants. I found this one funny. A lot of women could be laid off for getting pregnant. I mean, that still happens right now. It's not like it's totally gone, but that's something that a lot of people still experience. Women couldn't take legal action against workplace sexual harassment. Women at some point couldn't get an Ivy League education. Yale and Princeton did not accept female students until 1969 and Harvard in 1977. Women also at some point couldn't serve on a jury. So except you choose to be delulu to all of this information, it is quite obvious that this advocacy has actually certainly paved the way for women to have basic human rights. But of course, with every movement, there's extremes. So we also see the women who have had, intense or terrible relationships and situations with men and pretty much hate men have used this movement also to express their hate and how they feel.
I was a feminist when feminism was about equality, about levelling the playing field, giving women an opportunity to find their rightful place, particularly in the public world, which was tremendously important and exciting when we achieved that. But what feminism today, to me, is all about advantaging women at the expense of men. And it's become very much caught up in the demonisation of males, presenting them always at a disadvantage. And I don't want to have any part of that. I was writing recently about boys' education, which is something I've written about for many decades. And I came across an article I wrote 40 years ago where we just started to notice how badly boys were doing vis-a-vis girls. I mean, we'd had 10 years of programs trying to help girls do better in the schools, which was fantastic. And a lot of girls who had been held back by traditional assumptions about, girls not speaking up and girls not doing well in maths were now beginning to shine, which was a fantastic thing. But what was becoming very obvious is there were also a lot of boys falling behind and not achieving their potential. We have really very much feminist ideology infiltrating all our education systems, systematic programs to continue to advantage girls, and no one taking any notice of the fact that boys are falling out in huge numbers.
And many times they seem to be the ones louder about the advocacy for women. And in the process, they're also pushing their own agenda. And that's why some people just prefer to stay clear of being identified as a feminist. Why others don't actually just want to look like they have any problem with status quo or they have any problem with what's going on. They're just like, I don't believe in that stuff. But I would say that, if you choose to overlook the plain meaning of what this movement is and ignore the benefits that a lot of your moms have had as a result of people that were bold enough to call out inequality and do something about it, I am side-eyeing you right now. Totally side-eyeing you. Maybe you're a pick me. Anyway, just kidding. I definitely believe that one of the major tenets about feminism and about any social rights activism is that there is entitlement to choice. We were created to be able to make choices in life as long as you are prepared to live with the consequences of the choices. So yeah, I think everyone still has a right to decide what they want to do, regardless of what the internet calls you. And personal opinion, right? I don't think you necessarily need to be confrontational or aggressive when communicating your disagreement with things or ideologies. I also think that we were all made and created differently. We're all built differently and grew up in different backgrounds. So some people are more passionate about talking on things that matter to them. I believe that it becomes dangerous when you stop having your own opinions, when you agree with people simply to be liked, when you undervalue your own critical thinking. It would have its implications. Let's talk about the girl boss era, breaking the glass ceiling and whatnot. The girl boss era rose during the millennial movement, around the time of the Me Too movement. Women were fighting for equal pay, equal opportunities, respect at work, spaces in boardrooms, and the right to be heard without dismissal.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
it'd be important if you said the truth.
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation.
And I definitely think that this era was super empowering. It was encouraging women to be able to start businesses, to build careers, to take up space and become financially independent. Now, this is how it got toxic. I'm specifically speaking about how it got toxic, especially for women. It's created this hustle culture where you had to be grinding 24/7.
With Maximus, I felt like after I gave birth, I was in such a girl boss era, and I hate to admit it, but it was the worst thing ever. I was just so eager to go back to prove to the world and to myself, hey, look what women can do. We can do it all. And I burned myself out so bad that it took me solid 2 years to get back to myself.
I felt like I was pulling myself one way of wanting to work and then pulling myself the other way of just I want to stay home with the baby. And I couldn't figure out what felt right at the time. I think the first 4 months were probably the hardest. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to just sit at home. I like to be doing things and moving and learning and working. And so that was really hard for me to be relax. You need to stay home, focus on the baby, focus on yourself, get yourself in the right mindset to even be able to jump back into work. So that was really tough.
It was creating a system where people were glorifying burnouts. I can't remember who was that popular person then that was saying that if you're sleeping for more than 4 hours, you're not serious with your life. So it was glorifying burnout. It was glorifying work addiction and the pressure to be productive 24/7. We also saw women actually replicate male behavior. We saw this in movies, in the media. We saw this in real life as well. Women had to replicate male behavior to be taken seriously, changing their dressing, hiding their femininity, deepening their voices.
People don't even know that they have a basic human right to be able to get access to information about themselves and their own bodies that can change their lives.
Remember Beth Holmes, the founder of Theranos? She actually always spoke in a deep voice to kind of communicate her vision about her company. There was that element of people always trying to look and appear like men so that they could be taken seriously. And it became an unspoken role where it's you have to be like a man or act like a man to succeed like a man. But I think it's quite obvious that the girl boss culture also gave women freedom. It created a lot of financially independent women. Women no longer had to stay in unhealthy marriages because they had no money or feel powerless because they had no skill or experience. Financial independence is not optional. I get it if you have a trust fund somewhere, if your parents left a trust for you and you're fine. If I had a trust, everything I'm going to be doing right now is going to be a pet project. But if that is not your situation, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, you should have some level of financial independence. I think it is basic human survival. I don't think the girl boss era was all bad. Obviously had problems, but we can't deny that it created options for many people. And finally, the trad wife movement.
I'm not on pause from a career. This is my career. I'm not wasting my college education, wasting my talent, or wasting my time. I don't long for a dream job or dream about the day I can go back to work. This is my dream job. This is the greatest work I will ever do.
So the tradwife movement, interestingly, is becoming extremely popular online, especially among the Gen Z, which I find quite shocking. And the interesting part is also that you rarely see older or middle-aged women pushing this kind of content. It's mostly younger people, millennials and Gen Zs. The most common example is Nara Smith. She's always like making coffee beans from scratch, Oreos from scratch. She doesn't do this like looking all scattered and homeless. She looks perfect as she's cooking and making every meal. I think the reason why a lot of people are attracted to this kind of content is because it kind of portrays someone that is at rest, not grinding, catered for, someone that is being provided for, and someone that is also able to provide service to their family without being stressed, which is not what you would typically see, right? So in most cases, you would see a situation where when the woman is at home, taking care of the family and all, whether with a 9 to 5 or without a 9 to 5, person is stressed because it's a lot of work, depending on how many kids you have or the dynamics of your family. Essentially, you don't have to do a 9 to 5. That's what content like this portrays. It portrays that you don't have to be killing yourself, living the 9 to 5 life. I personally get it. Earlier this year, I took time off work, and this was after 5 years of having to basically be out a 9 to 5. And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed every minute. In fact, I was so reluctant to go back to work. I didn't have to report to anyone or be running to office in the morning and stuff. So I understand why this kind of content resonates with a lot of people, because it just feels very peaceful, very stressless, and who wants to be stressed? I don't. Where this kind of content becomes harmful is because it promotes the idea that these tradwife creators are not actually making money on their own. The idea that they are financially dependent on their husbands. But a lot of these people are actually earning more from all the brand deals and all the sponsorships that they get and all their followers. Some of these people have like millions of followers. They are actually making a ton of money doing this. So the ideology that they try to sell with this content isn't realistically the life that they actually live. What I find also a bit alarming is that some Gen Zs are actually aspiring to this. They are not really interested in learning a skill or going to college. They just want their husbands to take care of them. That is so cute to hear, right? But I think it's also dangerous because anything could happen. What happens if the person now gets trapped financially? What happens if you make the wrong choice of your partner and you are not able to do anything because you're kind of trapped in that marriage? As much as the soft life is beautiful, is sweet, I think that the soft life without security is a big trap. At the end of the day, I think there should be balance in everything. There is extremes in everything. It usually happens when we are put in a box or when we find ourselves in a box. If you've already put yourself in a box that identifies you as something, even when some things in that box doesn't make sense to you, you would still kind of accept it just because you've put yourself in that box. We should always know where to draw the line and where to say, I mean, even though I identify as this, I don't agree with this and this and this. Being successful in the workplace or like as a business owner does not mean you have to now like only wear blazers, no dresses, especially if those are things you like. I don't think there's anything wrong in being able to take care of your family, being able to provide service to your family. But I also think that portraying this, because what the internet does and what people on the internet what people on the internet do is to portray this as, I mean, you don't need to really be stressing in a 9 to 5. This is what you need to, this is what your purpose is. And this is not necessarily the situation for everyone. Not everyone can have that kind of life. Quite frankly, I really think women should be financially dependent. Even if it's a business, even if it's a pet project you have, there should be something that you can use to, keep your life together. Of course, this is assuming you don't have a trust fund. I don't know why I keep making reference to that. So let me know what you guys thought of this. Would you say you have put yourself in a box, or have you been pressured to be in a box, and why? I would really like to know. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.